Hello, so this is Keith. I want to tell you about Vipassana. I first found out about it in summer of 2016 when a friend of mine just disappeared, and I said, "Where did you go?" She goes, "Oh, I went and did this thing called Vipassana," and she told me about it. And I right away went and signed up for it. And I looked for a lot of YouTube videos on it, found a lot of stuff right away with kind of people who had done it first time, and was their report of it. So this one is a little bit different because I am now done a lot of Vipassana and a lot of service and have become a Vipassana devotee. And I also have a lot of other practices, and Vipassana mixes in with those. But while you're learning, you can have some ideas that have a lot to do with your ego and maybe your mentalness. There's a little bit of confusion depending on what belief system you go to with what is mental, what is ego. Those two get kind of conflicted, and the mental can kind of have a whole life of its own. But so my first Vipassana, she told me about it. I looked at it. I was like, wow, that's amazing. It's 10 days of silence, 10 hours of meditating a day. Although if you want to get by with just, maybe that's too much for you, there's only a few mandatory things which you have to do, which is 3 1-hour sits during the day once you go there and you promise that you're going to do them. And then you have a discourse at the night where the guy, and this is the Vipassana I'm talking about, is the Vipassana of Goenka. And it's free. And it's supported only by people that complete the course. So Goenka does a discourse, and he's dead now, so the courses are taught in audio, and then the discourse is done in video. And then he just died not so long ago for a big worldwide institution. There's like 10 or so centers in North America and about 300 plus maybe in the world, with a lot of them in Asia. And the North American Vipassana system is very unique and special in my opinion. At this time, I'm not so interested in going to Asia, although that is definitely a destiny of a lot of quote-unquote Vipassana practitioners, tourists as we'll call them, or whatever. More about that later, but I'm going to try to make this video short of just about what is Vipassana. So you go online, and depending on where you're living, you could maybe get into a course right away, but the center that I'm associated with, which is the Southern California Vipassana Center, SCVC for short, it fills up right away. There's a lot of demand for that one. A lot of Los Angeles people like it. Vipassana increases your creativity, your productivity. It's a next level with sort of getting the mental out of the way. So I want to kind of keep this video pretty organized and hit some bullet points and stuff. So you go and you sign up, and there's about, by the time you sign up, it's about 3 months away. So you make plans, and and then you're housed for free, you're fed for free, and you're fed a sort of basic vegetarian, sort of not necessarily sattvic, but kind of starch based. And I'm ketogenic, and I'm also raw vegan. So I had an easy time with that because they always have a salad bar there, and they have a decent dressing, and but it's not about the food. So a lot of people can get carried away with the food, and this is I'm a total candidate for that, where I still to this day it's not easy for me with the food, but it's not about the food. So a lot of you're getting all puffy about the food and stuff like that. And the food is not bad. It's actually, for the average person going in there, it's healthy. But if you're an extreme health freak like me, there's some problems. But I mean, not big problems at all. And it's not about that. What you gain versus what you sacrifice with your food, compromise is worth it. 100%. This is me, like, I'm coming up on my 2 years of completing my first course. That being said, my first course I walked away from, and that was a very famous video before I took it down after I completed my first course, which was really my second course. So I just kind of went there like I had a spiritual practice already, and the everything there is volunteer. So it's kind of in a way, unless you're having a lot of problems, it's best not to talk to any of the assistant teachers. And the assistant teachers, the teacher is Goenka, who's dead. So he teaches you on the audio and the video, and then there's somebody conducting there, usually a male and a female. Gender separated there, yep, which is a whole issue by itself, but things have got to start from someplace. So you go in there, there's a lot of chanting, which is not musical. When I say a lot of, every meditation session that's a group meditation session starts with some chanting and a little bit of speaking from SN Goenka coming over the audio speakers. That can be a little off-putting at first. You will, when you find the benefits of that and you trust, if you're drawn towards Vipassana, to me, once you hear about it, it comes. So it comes, meaning it becomes a part of you, and maybe a little or a lot. In my case, it's a lot. It's super, super fundamental in my life. So anyways, so day 0, you start out, you get there, you find your quarters. And the next day you get up in the morning, 4:30, you have basically 10 hours of meditation, and then you have breakfast, and then you have your first group sit at 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and you meditate some more, which that's optional, meaning that you can go in your room and you can not meditate if you choose. But then you have lunch, and then you have another optional meditation, meaning you meditate in your room or in the hall. There's a separate room that's called, quote unquote, the hall, where all group meditations go on. And then your next group meditation comes at 2:30 to 3:30. And then you meditate a little bit more. And then you have tea. Or if you're a new student, you have fruit and tea. So in the tradition, when you're in, this is like called a householder's like kind of monk-like thing. Like I'm not really down, like I'm kind of, at first I loved it because it was all just about meditation. You didn't have to study nothing, you just meditated, and it's powerful. Your life will change. And so it's amazing. And like I said, it's free. It's supported by donations. And it's an amazing thing that will change your life. So now on a side note, or maybe a good note, I can tell you that when I was working in my career, and I'm sort of my dad was a contractor. I worked for my dad. I stayed in the business for a while. I'm retired. I'm kind of a trust kid. I kind of do what the fuck I want. In my day of working, I could not have found 10 days of work, nor would I have seen 10 days to take off to do something like this. And you kind of need to have another day to recover, because, and the other thing is you give up your cell phone. You don't do any communication or anything like that. So it is powerful. And so this is just your first time. And so, like I said, I walked away from my first one. Then the Vipassana, thing was in the cosmos for me. And then I met these two guys, John and Dan, at my yoga studio, who were much younger than me. They're 29 years younger than me. And they're like, oh, you got to go back. And so I just liked them. I thought they were cool, and me as an intuitive, psychic kind of person, I was like, they have a good vibe. I need to go and check this out. And I always have an attitude that the universe is leading me in the direction that I want. Vipassana was always around me. So I went back, and my whole thing was just to get through the 10-day thing. And not talk to the teacher, because that's what kind of made me leave, because I was hallucinating like crazy when I started meditating, and I wasn't getting good answers. And let's just say, if that happens to you, there's a lot of layers of old dead mental crap that comes up when you start meditating that much all of a sudden. And I had a background in meditation, and some people store this stuff, some people don't. Experiences are all different. You go in, you start meditating, and they give you the technique of meditating, which is Anapana initially. You do that for 3.5 days. which is just simply breathing naturally and focusing mentally right here, of being aware of that breath moving in and out. And then you do Vipassana, which is basically body scanning for the next rest of your time there, which is 9 days. And then they have one day where you get to talk to all the other students. And then the next day you leave. And it's powerful. Super powerful. And I never thought I'd get into this as deeply as I am. And it's a good thing. And it's a network. Because starting to serve. So I did my second course. And John and Dan served it. And we went to the center together. And then right away, I just liked where I was going. I was finding all these things that I thought about myself were just me. They went away, and that's just the superfluous mental constructs and bullshit that you think is you. And Vipassana, in the Pali language of the Buddha, that's what it is, it's a Pali word, means to see things as they are. And that's the main thing that you see as it is yourself. And you'd be surprised all the bullshit that you can put all around yourself and thinking that you're defined by this, by that, by whatever. And, I had a little bit of a head start with my lifestyle of what I was incarnated as, is I'm a little bit sophisticated. Pardon my just being blunt about that. I was born a little more sophisticated than most people spiritually. So as you see back here, my house is no furniture, not a lot of superfluous bullshit, but you'd be surprised, because when you just have a little bit, it's like you're clinging on to that crap, which was me. And now I'm so open, oh my God, like I'm doing a long-term service now. I'm helping SCVC expand their parking lot. That's my background, is in construction, and I donated all my time. And I'm running it, and I'm running a dozer there, or a bulldozer as most people know it, and doing all the work and helping and assisting, and what a change I've gone through. And you get away from the world. It's not like a decision that you make. You all of a sudden find yourself kind of less interested. And so this is a quick version, and as a creative person, I find that the true nature of my creativity, meaning my electronic music that I do, which is very artsy, very ambient, not pop, not EDM, beat oriented though. You just find that you start getting more real. It's so fun to be real, and then you just start seeing all these. I don't really, I'm not really into, what everybody else is into. And then when you don't have this, sort of firmness, a foundation, not like a firmness, like a anger, but like a steadiness inside of you, a focus of, who I really am. You all of a sudden find that a lot of stuff that people do, you're not so interested in. Watching TV, going on trips around the world. It's just all you want to do is, at first, if you're not doing it, it sounds like, oh, just, and a part of becoming a daily practitioner is you meditate 1 hour a day, twice a day, morning and night, maybe more. You just get into it and you see whoa, and you just get into it, and it's interesting. And a lot of people are like, oh, that sounds like culty, or that sounds da-da-da-da, and it's just, you just slowly get into it, and all of a sudden you're finding wow, I really like myself, and I really like the changes I'm going through. And a lot of times those changes are not just night and day. They're just slow, like water, just moving, or across dirt. And it's just slowly taking those undesirable qualities. And by undesirable, I mean you when you're done with stuff, you just let go of stuff. And so much of what people do nowadays is they think they're defined by stuff that's just complete bullshit. So that's Keith, me. I am Keith. I know this video will probably get watched by a lot of people that don't know me. So this is a wellness channel. It's 10 years old. I'm an electronic musician. I've been a raw vegan, ketogenic raw vegan, pretty much all my adult life, with some a little bit of fruitarianism in there. And I just really push the edge of everything in terms of human potential and lust for the eternal. And so support me by supporting my music, links in the drop down. to my Bandcamp page, and you can order up CDs or whatever you choose from me. All right, bright blessings. Namaste. Metta. Metta means love and kindness in the Pali language of the Buddha. And best of you.